Welcome to the Brother Henry and You Show. I am your host, Henry Harris. Welcome to the Brother Henry and You Show. I am your host, Henry Harris. I hope you're having a wonderful day today. Hope you had a wonderful day today. And I'm so delighted and honored that you will take this opportunity to watch our program today. We have a special show for you today. As always, we love to talk about those things that are relevant, those things that we've all have experienced in our lives. And as I told someone not too long ago, if you haven't been down that road yet, keep living, because surely one time now or later, you are likely to experience that. Before we get started, it's time to do our Connect moment. Hello, this is Henry Harris. This is Connect Moment. This is where us as a community can engage and connect with each other in this moment, in this second. So I want you to do me a favor. There are three things I want you to do as you watch today's program. Number one, I want you to let us know where you're watching from. It could be Chicago, Dallas, Africa, wherever you're watching from, let us know. Another way you can engage and help us is by sharing this program on your social media. It could be Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, wherever you want to share this at, make sure you share it. I think on Facebook they have hearts, likes, angry faces. I need you to hit those because that lets me know and indicates to me that you're watching. So make sure you do that as well. And number three, as you're watching today's show, would you do me a favor and comment as you're watching the show today? We could be talking about mental health, sexuality, whatever we're talking about. I want to hear your voice as well, because your voice is just as important as my voice is. And I think that's what community is all about. It's not just about one person. It's about all of us getting together collectively to learn and feed off of each other. So thank you so much. Back to today's program. Welcome back. Today, I would like to come and talk to you about the subject. Do you feel appreciated at work? Do you feel appreciated at work? You know, I hear a lot of people all the time say, I don't feel appreciated at work. And then you ask them, well, why don't you feel appreciated at work? Is there a specific reason why you don't feel appreciated at work? Is it, do you think it's how you're being treated? Maybe you're not getting the raise you thought you should get. Maybe you feel like that what you have to offer or bring to the table really don't matter. Do you think that your boss has certain favorites or picks and you're kind of like the black sheep of the family, so to speak, in terms of the workforce or the company you're a part of? If you're one that's been battling those type of thoughts and you're a part of a company or a job and you feel unappreciated, you feel undervalued, I think this show is for you today. And maybe you know someone that may be having these similar experiences. And if you do, as we talked about in Connect Moment, make sure you share this video with your friends. We have an amazing show for you tonight. As always, I like to make things personal because a lot of times people like to talk about different things that they themselves haven't been through, and you'll never see me doing that. There has been seasons in my life, in the career that I'm in now, where I have felt unappreciated, where I have felt undervalued, where I felt like there just wasn't that zeal or that excitement anymore to come to work. Because why go into a space where you don't feel appreciated? It's almost equivalent to like a relationship, or symbolic to a relationship. Why would we go into like a relationship or into any relationship, as a matter of fact, and you know you don't feel appreciated in that space? Well, it's no different than work. I think you should go, we're going to talk about this here in a little bit, you should go where you're celebrated, not where you're tolerated. And some of you are in work spaces where they just simply tolerate you. I heard a supervisor say one time, as he was having a conversation with his boss on the phone, he said these words. He says, well, we got a certain staff member here, but they're just a warm body. And I was thinking to myself, what if that staff member heard him say that? Now, this is something that I heard many years ago. But I heard a staff member say, oh, they're just a warm body. And I was thinking to myself, and I knew the person that he was referring to his supervisor on the phone. And I was thinking to myself, how dare he say that, oh, he's just a warm body. That's just one of many examples that I've seen over the years of why a lot of people just don't feel appreciated at work. They feel like that what they do don't matter. And I want you to know, before we even get into this show, what you do does matter. I don't care how big your job is. I don't care how small your job is. What you do matter, and you never need to forget that. So if you work in the workplace, we all have had to ask ourselves, do you feel valued or appreciated for what you have to bring to the table or what you have to bring to the company? And I think it's a very valid question to ask that. Do you really feel appreciated for the work that you do? And I want you to take a second right now in the comment section. You don't have to tell me where you work at, but if you really feel like you're not being appreciated at work, comment and tell me why you feel that way. And not only that, let me know what changes maybe your company can make to make you feel appreciated, or your employer. Put that in the comment section right now. So, do you feel like what you have to offer or bring to the table matters to those who are your supervisors or your bosses? Or do you feel that your work ethics, your great work ethics, and what you have to bring to the table goes unnoticed? And for many people, it does go unnoticed. I can't tell you how many times in the career that I'm in where I went into work and I felt like I wasn't appreciated. I feel like I was just taking up space. And that's no way to live. You know, you go to work, you know, you want it to be enjoyable, you want it to be likable. You know, you want to be in a great atmosphere, not a hostile atmosphere. A lot of people work in a hostile environment where they don't want to come to work. We're going to talk about work retention and all that stuff here in a second as well. So those things to me are very important. Maybe you feel like you're just a warm body. You know, we just talked about that, how I overheard a supervisor telling his supervisor on the phone, oh, they're just a warm body, they're just here. And I knew this girl, she busts her butt when she hits the floor. She's an overachiever. How dare he say that? But it just shows you that every supervisor and every employer don't really appreciate what they have in the building. Now, I don't care if this is in a nursing home or a hospital or just a regular business. If you have people working for you, and this show is really good for employers, if you have someone working for you, do you feel the need to do whatever you can do in your power to keep them there? To show them that you are valued, that we validate you, we appreciate you, we thank you for being part of this company. Your supervisor should feel this way. They should feel as if they cannot make it without you. I totally understand that we're all replaceable. All of us are. So no matter how good you are, don't put yourself up on a pedestal thinking that you're not replaceable. I've seen it happen time and time again. But at the same time, you would think that if you are the owner or over a business, you would take time to make sure that your employees feel appreciated. If you found yourself feeling not appreciated, I think this segment is dedicated to you tonight. And no matter what you do, or what profession you may work in, it is important to realize and understand that everyone wants to feel appreciated, no matter what they do. It's one thing to say you appreciate someone and what they do, but it's another thing to actually show it. I can't tell you how many times, and I keep making it personal because I've been through it. I can't tell you how many times well, Henry, we thank you for being here. We thank you. Okay, show it. You know, that word love is an action where if you really love me, if you really appreciate me, if you really value me the way you say you do, don't just tell me, show it. Now, don't get me wrong. It makes me feel good temporarily that my boss will say, Henry, we thank you, we appreciate you. But actually show it. And we're going to talk about some ways that maybe some employers can show their staff how much they appreciate them. Many of us have been told on numerous occasions, I appreciate you. Have you been told that by someone that you're working for? And sometimes, depending on the mood, it's hard to determine if those are just simply words or if they truly mean it. Whereas some employers say it and they really do mean it. And I've seen that happen a time or two as well. So like I said, I'm not saying dismiss when your employer tells you they thank you and they appreciate you. They may really mean it. But you have those other employers out there, watch this, that say it and they really don't mean it. You're just a warm body. You're just existing in their world. They really don't even want you here, which makes you think, why did they hire you to begin with if they really felt that way about you? So, do you feel appreciated at work? This will either come with a yes or a no. If it is a no, maybe you need to reevaluate why you work at the place where you feel like you're not appreciated. Could you say that that's a good start? I asked you earlier, put in the comments, do you feel appreciated at work, and tell me why you feel that way and what changes that you think they can make. Why would you work somewhere? It's just a very common question. Why would you work somewhere where you feel like you're not appreciated? I wouldn't. Why would you be in any workspace where you feel like you're not appreciated and what you have to bring to the table don't matter? I wouldn't do it, and I would never do it. So there may be seasons you may get overwhelmed in what you do. I do. In fact, it happened to me the other day. I got very overwhelmed. That happens. You get overwhelmed. Sometimes us feeling like we're not appreciated is just a temporary moment, and we have to embrace that, but it's not reality. Meaning, you may have a bad day and feel like you're not appreciated when in fact you are. You're just having a bad day. So I think it's important that we make sure we analyze this correctly and bring some balance to this approach. That your supervisors may do appreciate you, but there may be seasons at your job, no matter what you do. I think every job comes with some level of stress and anxiety, where you may feel like your anxiety level is up. You may feel like I'm about to walk out of here at any moment. You may get that I don't care attitude. They don't appreciate me. When in fact, maybe you just feel overwhelmed. If you feel that way, why don't you go tell your boss, I need to step outside. I need to take a break. I need what they call a breather. I need to go take a breather. Go get some water. Go sit down. Go meditate. And then go and recharge, and then go back to doing what you were doing. Don't put yourself in that position. I have become a master in managing. Listen to this. I have become a master in managing, not becoming so overwhelmed by things. I'm a human being. I become overwhelmed like everybody else do. I really do. But I think it's all about how you manage it. And while there may be days you don't feel appreciated, remember, it's just a feeling. We validate how you feel. I care about how you feel, and you should too. And don't let anyone tell you that your feelings don't matter. But there may be times too where you just may be having a bad day. You may just feel overwhelmed. You may have just worked too much. Maybe you need to take an off day. So I think we need to take that into consideration as well. So it's important to realize that even when you are not praised for what you do, you celebrate and praise yourself for the job that you do. Sometimes you have to give yourself a pat on the back. Sometimes you have to praise yourself. Sometimes you have to say, you know what, Henry, you did a good job today. Sometimes you have to do what they call self-exhortation, self-edification, where you're building yourself up, because you can't always expect your supervisor to do that. So is it nice to have your employer to give you this type of validation that we're talking about? Well, of course, it's nice. I, for one, love it when my employer appreciate the work that I do. And I think every employer should appreciate their staff. After all, they could be working somewhere else where they'll feel more appreciated than what they do now. Every employer must understand that. Let me say it this way. I think a lot of times employers don't realize who they have and what they have in the building and what they have to bring to the table in the building. And sometimes when employers don't appreciate that, they tend to undervalue those staff members, or they'll hold other staff members to a high esteem while they're ignoring the ones that really do a really good and hard job. So I think it's important that we understand that everyone is important in the workplace, in the workforce. Everyone should feel appreciated. There's a quote that says, you heard me talking about it at the beginning of the show, there's a quote that says, go where you're celebrated, not where you're tolerated. Some people in the workplace feel like they're just being tolerated and not celebrated. But maybe it appears only a few seems to get that type of recognition that they wish they had, but they never do. And I want you to know that what you do is just as important. I don't care who you are. I don't care who you work for. What you do is just as important. Don't allow anyone to minimize your work and your work ethics and your work skill. You have to know within your heart, you have to know within yourself that whether you get validation or not of how good you are, that you walk in that building as if you're the boss, as if you're in charge. You go in and you change the atmosphere. You have the power to do that. So when someone feels appreciated, and we're going to put this on the screen, well, when someone feels appreciated, what can it lead to? It can lead to three things: a better physical and mental health. When you feel appreciated, don't that make your mental health a whole lot better and healthier? It makes you feel physically healthy. Higher levels of engagement, satisfaction, and motivation. When you feel appreciated, doesn't that motivate you to want to do more? Or, as someone else would say, to go the extra mile. But when you don't feel appreciated, you don't really want to go the extra mile. You don't feel no satisfaction. You don't feel no motivation. If anything, it's the opposite of that. Number three, a healthy and productive relationship between the employer and the employee. I can honestly say that I have that. And that's a nice thing to have, to be able to get along with your employer. But let's just be realistic. We live in a world that really doesn't happen. For one reason or another. Maybe they're mad because they didn't give them the time off that they requested. Maybe they're upset because they were given a task that they felt like someone else should do, but the employer wanted them to do. There's a variety of reasons about the chemistry between an employer and employee. We're not going to get into all that now, but when you feel appreciated, it does create a great chemistry between you and your employer. You want to you want to do your job, but because you know they value you, you want to even go the extra mile and you want to do more. So how will you know you are not appreciated? Now, this is very important. How will you know you are not appreciated? How can you tell that you're not appreciated? Number one, being overlooked and ignored. That's a very common one, isn't it? There are so many people that feel ignored. They don't get recognized. They don't get the accolades that they should get. They don't get praise from the employers like they should get. And I think that's really sad. I really do. I think that's really sad. Number two, no opportunities for growth and development. There's no opportunities to grow. There's no opportunities to evolve. There's no opportunities to succeed and to do greater things, because what I am doing, you don't even appreciate that. So why even go and do more? Because you don't even appreciate it. Number three, employers seems to never have time for you. I went through this in the past. I went through this where I felt like anytime I needed something, I would get brushed off. Do you feel that way sometimes with your employer? Or they're too busy for you? They're always in meetings or always got something going on. It's like, you know what? Some of the stuff that we need, I'm speaking in terms of employees, sometimes only take a matter of seconds. Can you check my time? Or something is not right with my hours, or sometimes it's just a matter of seconds that can resolve the situation, but you feel like they're pushing you off. And it seems like they're taking forever to get back to you. And we got, being realistic again, when you have a company that has a bunch of employees, sometimes, like I say, you got to balance this out. You may feel like they're overlooking you. You may feel like they don't have time for you. They actually do. They just may be busy. But I think if I was an employer, I would say, something to the nature, I'll get back with you. Number four, turnover. Turnover is pretty much something that a lot of businesses deal with and struggle with. Just can't keep anybody. And there's a variety of reasons why that happens. Turnover is not a good thing. You want to try to keep that work, keep people there as much as you can. And it most certainly don't look good to outsiders, like new people that's coming to your company, because the first thing that I asked, and that's what I asked when I went into where I work, what about the turnover here? Do people stay? And it's good to listen to the reasons why they don't stay. Number five, your hard work gets consistently unnoticed. We talked a little bit about that earlier, and that happens quite a bit as well. Number six, you start to feel like your boss favors others but doesn't really like you. That's kind of tricky because, let's just be honest, nobody really has to like anyone. Like, you do not have to like your boss. Your boss don't really have to like you, but at the same time, you can still have a mutual, respectful relationship with each other while you're in the workplace. Your work, number seven, your work time, space is not acknowledged or respected. They expect you to pick up overtime, but no one says thank you or acknowledges it. And a thank you can really go a long way. How many know that? A simple thank you can go a long way. You know what? Thank you for doing that for me. Thank you for picking up these hours for me. I was really short. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But sometimes we don't really get fit. So it is vital for your mental health, productivity, and overall happiness at work. You should never work for a company or work in a space where you don't feel valued for what you do. Because just as they don't appreciate you, the job down the street will appreciate you. Now, what about employers? What can they do to appreciate their staff? And I'm not just talking about throwing a pizza party or anything like that, even though that's fine. But what can an employer do to show that validation to the employees, especially those who voice their concerns and say, you know what, I don't really feel appreciated. I don't really feel like what I have to bring to the table matters. This is what you can do. Number one, listen to their concerns. I said this earlier, sometimes employers get so busy with their day, with meetings and stuff like that, and sometimes employees feel like they're being brushed off. They feel like they don't have time for them. But sometimes you just take a second, even 5 minutes out of your day to do that. I know where I currently work, we have an open door policy where we can walk in and, you know, when she's not busy, go in there and voice our concerns or some changes, adjustments that need to be made, or maybe it's something personal going on in my life. You can go in and do that. I hope every job has that, but I don't think they do, but that makes you feel appreciated to know that you're being heard or that they're listening to you. It makes you really feel appreciated. Number two, reward them. Now, I was joking about the pizza party. Some companies they'll throw a big pizza party, but you gotta look at it this way too. At least they took the initiative to show you that they appreciate you. Maybe it's their budget. Maybe they can't give you a steak or buy you a new car or pay you a rent or whatever. Some of those things are unrealistic, but still, it's nice to work somewhere where they reward you. And I'm not just talking about during CNA week or whatever week that they celebrate you at work, you know, where you constantly feel appreciated. Number three, consistent edification. If you see good, acknowledge it. If you see they are doing good, it doesn't hurt to say good job. I actually did it the other day, and it was towards someone who doesn't even work in our company. EMT came in, and I looked at her, and I could tell she was kind of having a bad day. And I looked at her, I said, you know, I appreciate what you do. She says, thank you so much, Henry. Thank you so much. Can you imagine giving her that positive reinforcement, that positive edification that she needed at that moment, that I could provide for her, what that made for her day, what that made her day out to be? Sometimes it's just a simple thank you. Sometimes it's just you don't got to be over the top about it. Sometimes a simple, hey, can I help you? Do you want to talk about something? Do you want to take a break together? Is that something you need to get off your mind? What can I do to make your workload easier instead of making it difficult? So there's nothing wrong with edifying. That word edification simply means to build up. There's nothing wrong with building someone up. Because as I said, when you do that, when you build someone up, you actually motivate them to want to do better. Number four, maybe give them a special day off of work. Some jobs do that, some jobs don't. Your special day off of work is when you're scheduled off. That's your special day. But some jobs do like a mental health day where they see that you're working a lot and you're picking up hours and stuff. And even my supervisor has done it where I've called her and say, hey, I need a day just to breathe. Doesn't always happen because I rarely ever take advantage of that opportunity. But I know she probably would. Like if I was really depressed, my mental health was being challenged because of my work, you know, there's nothing wrong with taking a day off, doing that for someone that works for you. Number five, the most common one I hear is a raise. No one wants to work at a place where they feel unappreciated and not getting the wages that they desire. That's another way you can appreciate your staff. Give them a raise, give them a bonus. Show that, like I said, don't just say you appreciate them. If you have the opportunity to show them. Number six, see the good. When you see it, I think I said this earlier, say something. It kind of goes along with what I said earlier. Words of affirmation can go a long way. And number seven, a simple thank you. I know a lot of people say, well, that's taboo That's easy for you to say. That don't always happen in my workplace. And you know what? I agree with you. It probably don't always happen in your workplace. However, I think saying thank you really goes a long way, because, like I said, it motivates the other person to want to do better in their job profession and what they do. So while these things may seem simple, they are really helpful not only to you, but to your company. It can also help with employee turnover. Sometimes employers wonder why people leave the company, when a majority of the time they leave because they don't feel valued. That's why they leave. We can also talk about this right quick as we go to a close. What about workplace attitude and professionalism? Sometimes people leave because of that, the way they're being treated. And you go to your boss and you seem like you voice your concerns, and it seems like it's just going in one ear and out the other. It's like they don't really even care. And that's why a lot of people are like, well, if this is how they feel about me here, I can imagine how they feel about their other staff. And I'm not going to come work somewhere where I'm going to be treated like a child or treated a certain kind of way, where I can go somewhere else where they will treat me right. Every human being deserves respect, whether you like them or not. And it doesn't help when you feel unappreciated. And on top of that, the staff and perhaps the employers are just not nice to you for simply no reason. And even if they had a reason to not be nice to you, that's not right either, because that shows you their lack of professionalism. So this is not just directed at employers of the company in your workspace, but to everyone, that kindness does go a long way. Respect goes a long way. And it is true that if you want respect, it's important to give it. I hear a lot of people say, I want respect. I deserve respect. Well, you have to be kind to others yourself. You can't be one, my employer don't appreciate me, they don't like me. And you're giving the opposite of what you want. You can't give what you don't have. You can't say they need to respect you. You don't even respect them. You're talking about your boss, degrading your boss, degrading the company. So while employees long to be respected and valued, this can also be true for employers. How many of us employees go to our boss often and say, hey, you're doing a good job. I appreciate what you're doing. Thank you for showing up for us today. They deserve that same respect. It doesn't hurt for you as an employee to say, hey, boss, I appreciate you. Thank you for everything that you do. Positive reinforcement. That's what that is. That's positive reinforcement. It works both ways. You can't just walk into work and expect everyone to appreciate you when you're not given the very thing that you deserve, that you earn. This most certainly in many cases has to be earned. But it also doesn't give the employer excuses to devalue you as an employee either. I've always said this. You don't have to like anybody that you're working with. You don't have to like your boss. You don't have to like your coworker. But it's important to be kind and generous and respectful to each other. Always remember, you are there to do a job. You're there to do a job. And I'm the same way. I'm a very friendly guy. And those that's watching, you know me for an amount of years, you know I am. I get along with everyone. I don't care if you don't like me. I don't, because I'm not validated. At the end of the day, I love myself. I don't need that validation from you. I can work with you. I can do whatever I can with you. And I know how to leave that part of myself away from that when I leave that space. How many understand what I'm trying to say? In other words, in essence, I'm saying, I don't have to take you home with me. Because at the end of the day, I don't have to do that. I'm just there to work with you. You don't have to like me. I don't have to like you. But let's be mutual. Let's be kind. Let's be respectful. Making employees feel valued in work they do is important. in business and can ultimately improve the environment of the workplace, the individual and team performance, and help an organization reach these goals. Can you imagine working at a place where everyone is a team player? No, and I'm not, like I said, I'm being realistic. Once again, I'm not saying that every day is going to be heaven at work. I get that. But what would it look like if we were team players, that we all joined together and worked together and did it all together? When everyone do their part, it seems like things go much better. So we know this is not always the case. No place of employment is perfect. How many know that? No place is perfect. But it doesn't cost you anything to make someone feel appreciated and valued for what they do for you. It's time to connect. Make sure you follow us on the Brother Henry and You Show, /Facebook.com. Also on YouTube.com /Henry Harris 100. I hope you enjoyed today's program. We'll see you next week.